Oh, wait, here we go. I'm gonna get a Protoss game. This is the one. Alright, so playing as Protoss in Legacy of the Void, we have a little bit of a different set of values than we do as other races. What we're going to be looking for early on is whether my Terran opponent and any opponent of any race is going for any sort of early attack. As a Protoss, you need to have extra preparation because Protoss takes a little while in order to be able to ramp up towards the tech and the units they need in order to defend and maybe attack later on. So I'm going to be getting a gateway here. I'm going to be setting my pylons up in a triangle manner around my base. 1, 2, 3. So that way, with my mothership core, I have that pylon overcharge potential defense. So we're getting the gateways, hotkeying everything up. And going to send out that scouting probe. And now what I'm looking for against Terran, I'm looking for is your barracks and your base. How much gas do you have? Do you have an intention of expanding? These are the important things. As I get into gas here. But at 19 supply, I'm going to be going down and taking the expansion. I'm not, well, the barracks isn't in his base, but it's close enough. So we're just going to gate expand. The bread, the butter, the standard. Can I kill this in time? I'm shift right-clicking in order to continue the attack, but it doesn't look like I'm going to get the kill. Oh, I did get the kill. Cold-blooded killer probe. But walling on the low ground is kind of odd. But I'm not going to factor too much in. Most Terrans wall on the high ground. We're going to play like he's walling normally. We're not going to try to do... A lot of players will get baited, like they see something on the low ground, they're like, well, that's vulnerable, I should attack. It's like, no, stick with the game plan, stick with your guns. That's the important part, right? So what I'm going to be doing right off the bat, mothership core. Core values are very important. As soon as that core finishes, warp gate mothership core. And also get the pylon quicker and in a better position. But, not everybody's perfect. And then, I would say, if you don't have a preference, the safest way to open up is is with a robotics facility. Because a robotics facility gives you a few different things. During all of this, I'm continuing to make probes at all times. I'm going to hide the mothership core a little bit back, because I saw a Reaper at the watchtower. I actually shouldn't have gotten that information, but I did. So when the Reaper comes in, it won't see the mothership core and it won't realize I can trigger a photon overcharge with this hotkey. Thank you very much. And then wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. There goes your scouting. He might have saw the Robo, but he's not going to see anything else because obviously he's dead. And from this, it's very important to have a focus, like, what is my unit composition going to be? I'm going to tell you right now. It's going to be Colossi, and then I'm going to fill in gateway units underneath. That doesn't mean I'm necessarily going for Stalkers, or I'm going for Adepts. I'm going to get information as to what he's doing, and when I have that information, I'm going to use that to decide, like, do I need more ground units, like armored charge lots? Or do I need air units to deal with things like Liberators, like, say, Blink Stalkers? I'm keeping that option open because it's going to be a little while until I have to make the decision. Thank you very much. We're getting the pylon at the front. It's a super pylon. I can warp in a lot quicker. But I'm heading towards that. It's very important as a Protoss. You have a stronger tech tree than pretty much any other race in the game. What I mean by that is your tech is more important to you than most of the other races. Like, you can make Marines, or you can make Zerglings, and you can make them work. But as a Protoss, for the entire game, you can't just be making Stalkers or Adepts. Yes, they're very good, but there's a lot of hard counters. You have very strong splash damage units, like the Colossus, like the Disruptor, like Templar with Storm. And that's what we're going to focus on. We get a little bit of an idea here. He's just now building his starport. which is pretty late. You know what that means? If I have Colossi, and I have extended thermal lance, and I have maybe a couple sentries for Guardian Shield, which is very important, he can maybe do an attack, but it's going to be on the ground. And if he's fighting on the ground, I want those meaty units in front to fight against them. So we're getting a Forge. I'm actually going to prioritize... I would usually prioritize the weapon upgrades, but if I'm convinced it's going to be a ground army, I'm going to go for armor. Why is that? Because my ground units are already going to do enough. If the Colossi are in the right spot, they're going to do enough damage, no matter what the upgrades are. But the only way they get in the right spot is by sacrificing plenty of Zealots or Adepts or Stalkers in front of them. So the idea is that I get into the right spot easier if my units survive longer. Simple enough, right? Alright, so we see as a reactor over here. We have vision of all of this. I'm going to build a cannon in my base. Not behind my mineral line. This is to give detection and basic defense all over. We're going to get the Twilight Council and a second Forge. And also a couple more gateways. A little bit of everything. Because I'm taking a third base, I'm going to need more gateways. I guarantee you that. I don't need the Twilight Council upgrades right now. I just want meat. I want something to put in front of those Colossi. Because, well, if they don't topple over, there's only one other thing. And of course, you've heard, why did the Colossus fall over? And the real answer, of course, is because it was imbalanced. But it shouldn't be falling over for any other reason. So we have vision. I have this observer as well. But if I didn't have that watchtower, I'd be much more active with the observer. We're going to get a cannon over here. Almost got that. We're going to get some cannons on the side. He's going to drop out over here, but we're going to tap this on the shoulder. And we have plenty of units here. I killed one medevac. Go over to this side, and we're still just building. And you know, we just took a big win. As a Protoss, it's very important. If you can be ahead in the tech, if you're not scrambling back, and ideally, if you do a build like this, you're ahead in tech. As soon as you take a good fight, or even a semi-good fight, and I just did. I killed a medevac. I killed a medevac. I killed some units. I forced them to retreat. I bought a little bit of space, and I'm going to use this space to get my Templar Archives, my next building, my next step along this process. So, if I can get the Templar Archives, and then by the time he deals with the Colossi, how are you going to deal with Storm? The Storms are going to blow you away. So we're going to start that off, chrono boost it, maybe get some more pylons and gateways around the edge. But here's a nice tip. You just put a Templar in every base, and you don't use the Selecto Army hotkey. I'll talk about my hotkeys for a second. My main army is on the 1 key. My Mothership Core is on the 2 key. And I keep my Templar on the 3 key, or my Oracles, or whatever specialty unit that requires spellcasting, and Protoss has plenty, on the 3 key. So if I need to land a Storm, or I need to get Disruptor shots, or I need to control my Oracles, well, I have that. It looks like right now the only place I don't have vision is right up the middle of the map. And you wonder where he's going to go? I have an idea. Well, we saw he was moving out. I made a Warp Prism. The Warp Prism is important. Once you're transitioning into a second form of splash damage, like Storm, having a Warp Prism is going to be the way you actually win the game. What do I mean by that? The Warp Prism doesn't attack, but what it can do is warp in dozens of units into really useful positions. So I'm going to have it. I'm just going to have this Oracle. I usually like to put it on 7 or 8 or something like that. So I still have it on a hotkey, but it's not like in the way of anything. Because you don't use it all the time, but you use it sometimes, and it's important to have. Let's get all this up. We're going to... I can't quite see his upgrades. I can see he has +1 armor, though. We got a couple Archons. I'd say 4 or 5 Templar is a pretty solid amount to have in your main army. We've got really good vision on the map as well. I have this gold base. I've got my camera location set up on all my bases. You can check out the guide on that if you don't know what that means. But I've got everything set up here. So right now I'm actually going to start with the counterattacks. And there's going to be a 3-step process. As long as he doesn't just attack in and die. If he does, well, it's a 1-step process. Alright, it becomes very much quicker. We're going to get a Dark Shrine here. He sees the Templar. But if he doesn't, then it's a 3-step process. I'll describe. So we have the War Prism. We're going to have it over here. We have a Charge Lot run by, and we have the main army. Now notice I have the Templar on a different hotkey. I can jump to them at all times. But if I learned how to make pylons, this would even be better. But we're going to do the 1, 2, 3. And it's not as hard as it sounds. Alright, believe me. It's never as hard as it sounds. But how many probes do we have? 83 probes. That's a bit much. But I finished my upgrades, so we'll continue those. We'll get the chrono boost. We got the pylons. I'm gonna warp in 10 zealots over here. I'm gonna use a hallucinated phoenix and move out with that and see where the main army is. I need to know where that is. Okay, it's here. We're gonna bring these zealots in. Because he's all sieged up, he's all crazy over there. So we bring these zealots in. Which will bring whatever reinforcements he has. Okay, maybe not. We'll bring these other zealots in then. He got the EMPs off, but unfortunately it's going to cost him a lot of his army. I'm going to lose a lot of this, but he's now paying attention at home. We've got zealot run-bys on both sides. I'm going to replenish the Templar. I'm going to add in some more zealots. I'm going to make 1 Colossi and decide to make another couple Robos because why not? I got money in the bank. I'll remake all of these. If you ran out of energy, and then we can make some Archons. But we still have that War Prism in place as well. This is still happening. And I've got the entire army together here. I'm going to warp in some Dark Templar, and I'm going to spread them to each base. 1 here, 1 towards the main, 1 towards the front, and now we'll bring the main army together. I've got Control 1 as my main army. I'm not hotkeying all the little things I warped in. I'm just going to go over here. We'll add some more zealots in. But now there are some DTs all over the place, right? Even if he has detection, good luck. I've got the Templar on a separate hotkey. We're going to hit this base. And now he has to decide. He's losing the Templar on one side. His army's over here. This base is going down. These DTs are dying. I mean, these SCVs are dying. He gets 1 scan. There goes the orbital.
Upgrade complete.
He's a platinum player. All right. He has an idea of what he wants to be doing. It's just a little bit too focused on maybe the wrong things is what happens sometimes. But it just comes down to playing safe, playing solid. He had 121 APM, I had 93, but it's not about how much you have. It's about how you use it. And Protoss embodies that probably more than the other races. So